name is Daryl, and this is Programming in Any Language. Well, we're all done with decisions, right? We can go one way or another. Job complete. Not so fast. What if we have 3 choices to make, or 4, or 5, or even more? Welcome to nesting. What's nesting, you ask? Well, nesting is placing a code inside another piece of code. In other words, we make one decision, and then based on that decision, we make another decision. Easier to see. Example, suppose you go for a loan at your local bank or credit union, or wherever you might go for a loan. Now, suppose qualifying for that loan requires you to pass 2 tests. First test is, it requires you that you've worked at your job at least for 2 years. So you got to have 2 years on the job. The second test requires that your current job you make at least $40,000 per year. So 2 years, $40,000. How do we set that test up? Take a look. Okay, this is a good demonstration of nesting and what you need to do to actually do that. What you need actually a problem that's gonna be best done when you use nesting. And nesting means more than one condition you have to solve, and you're going to nest it because you got to get one first, then within that one you're going to do another one. And this is a good condition right here, a loan qualifier. In this case, we need to be, in order to get a loan from the bank or from a credit union or wherever, we need to have been employed for at least 2 years. And we also have to earn at least $40,000 a year. So how do we do that? We want to flowchart this thing out so we've got something to work with. So we'll do that right here and put our start button in here and get that in place. And then what we're going to do is we're going to ask that first question. And that question is going to be, is our salary greater than or equal to 40,000? We'll just put down greater than or equal to 40 grand here. And that's going to have a yes or no answer. Make a copy of this right away. And that yes is going to go, we'll shrink it down a little bit. Yes is probably going to go right over. Whoops, let's get it right. It's going to go right over here. And no might go over here someplace. I'll set this to the back. Or actually shrink it down a little bit so it fits better. Okay, so we've got our 2 paths. If it's greater than or equal to 40,000, yeah, it is. Okay, so then in that case, we could do another statement. And we can make another decision right here. We might then ask it if we've been on the job greater than or equal to 2 years. Job greater than or equal to 2. And that's going to have a yes, no also. And if it's got a yes, make a copy of this guy. We'll go off in this path. If it's got a no, we'll take this path. I'm going to kind of tie things together. So if we have a no here for if it's greater than or equal to 40,000, no, then we actually want to say something. And we'd like to say, no loan for you. Whoops, let's get that done right. Okay. And that'll take us to the end someplace. And we can shove an arrow in here too right away. And get this all looking nice. But if it is, we go in this direction. And we're going to put one more in there right away, so I'm actually completing our flow chart nicely. So, no loan for you. We're probably out of here. But if it is greater than 40,000, then we have to ask, have we been on the job for 2 years or more? Yes. Great news. You get a loan. So that's good news. If it's not, then we have one of these guys going down right here, which says basically, again, no loan for you. What's interesting, though, is you can say, not on the job. And over here you can say, too little money. You can actually specify why it is the reason that they're not actually going to get that loan. Tie all this stuff together. And now we can end our program. So we'll put our terminator down here with an end on it. And these guys can actually go there and do their thing. So this is going to go directly out. We'll fix that up in a minute. We can do that by simply modifying this line. We get a loan. We come over here and pop this guy in there. And then we take one of these. Bring it down here. And this guy, of course, will have his straight line coming in. And there's our flow chart. So basically, we're going to ask it, are we making greater than $40,000? No, we're not. Get out, not enough money. Okay. If we are making enough money, then we got to ask, have we been on the job for more than 2 years? And if it's no, get out. If yes, though, we've actually said a yes to both of these conditions, and they come in here. It goes out to great news, you've got a great loan. You've got a great loan. Now, thing you got to consider, when you write this one, this particular if statement, this one is going to be nested within this guy. And we'll see that when we actually write the code for this. Notice how the flowchart isolates each condition and forms a logical path to obtaining a loan. Only one path exists where both conditions are actually met. Now that you have this flowchart in hand, it's relatively easy to actually write the code. In fact, whenever you're faced with complex decisions, the flowchart is a must before you actually write the code. Let's write that code. Okay, to put this test together, this loan qualifier, I create a little form here, which is going to allow the user to enter the annual salary and the number of years for the current job. These are both text boxes, and they're set up as text salary for this one, and this one's set up for text years. So I've got them named. I've also got this loan decision right here, and I've called this label decision. So output is going to come either they're not qualified or they are qualified. It's going to come out here as a decision. I've got 3 buttons here. An exit button that's going to get me out of the form. Clear button is going to clear everything off and let us start over again. And check qualifications is going to do all the work. And this is where that nested if statement is going to go when we actually do this thing. So let's try and put the code together on this thing. So I'm going to go in here. And what I'm going to do is I want to do a couple of things. I'm going to set this up. We'll remove the toolbox. We don't need it right now. I'm going to set up some comments in here just so I know what I'm doing here. And the one thing I'm going to do is I'm going to read the input from user. I want to do that. Once I want to do that, then I'm going to do my decision. I'm going to say make decision. So based on that. So the first thing I want to do is I want to read this thing in. So I'm going to be quickly pop in the I'm going to get a couple variables here, so I'm going to set those variables up right now. I'm going to set up a variable as a double, and I'll call it DBL salary, and this will simply hold annual salary. And I'm going to set up a double called years. I could make this an integer, but they may be 1.5 years, something of that nature. They might put something 2.5 years. So this is going to hold the years at work. That's going to be doing that. Now I need to read that input somehow. So what I'm going to be doing, I'm going to say that DBL, the first one in there is the DBL salary is the top one on our form. So we'll look at that. We'll say DBL salary is going to be equal to double dot parse. Remember, we got to parse these things. Text salary dot text to bring that thing in. Then we want to say in DBL years, I believe it's called, is going to be parsing the text from the years text box. So that comes in. Once I've got that in place, then I can make these decisions. So I can start looking at this flow chart that I've got here to figure out how I want this thing to look. I want to come in here and I say, wow, you know, are we greater than or equal to the number of years? So let's go ahead and do that first. So we'll jump in there and we'll go down here to the decision area and we'll say if double dot years, and we'll say is greater than or equal to, is that what we're doing first? Doesn't matter really. It doesn't matter. Look at the flowchart real quickly. Salary. We want to look at salary. Let's do that first then. DBL salary. DBL salary is greater than or equal to 40,000. We want to do something. We're going to do this block right here. So something's going to happen in that case. If it's not, else, we can put an else down here, and we can say else, and we can put that down here. And we'll say if it's not greater than equal to salary, we can say, basically, we can say our LBL decision dot text is equal to not qualified, salary too low. We can literally specify that particular thing and go from there. However, if salary is less than or equal to 40,000, greater than or equal to 40,000, we want to do something. So we want to do, if it's greater than 40,000, we want to do another test inside here. We want to nest it. So right now, if we fail the 40,000, we know we're done. We don't need to do any further testing. But we do down here. So if we do make more than 40,000, we got to check the year next. So we'll go if DBL years is greater than or equal to, let's say greater than 2. It's got to be greater than 2, I think. So we'll just say greater than 2. That's what our flowchart says. We can check that real quickly. Nice to have a flowchart. Greater than equal to 2. Okay, so it's greater than equal to. We'll make it that then. We'll go ahead and do that. And we'll see if it's greater than or equal to 2. Then we want to do something. And we'll actually put our braces in there. And we'll say that LBL decision dot text is equal to you qualify for the loan. Having trouble with that semicolon there. But we're also going to have an else down here. We need to say else and put in a set of braces here. And LBL, if we're not, decision.text is equal to what we were last one. Not qualified. We'll say not qualified. Years on job too short. And leave it like that. And so now this is the way our flow is going to look. This is how you would actually put a nested if statement together. Notice that this if statement here and its else are nested within this guy. So in order for these things to execute, this has to be true. If it's not, we drop down to here. If this is true, we drop down to here, which allows us to then ask if the double salary is greater than or equal to. And if it's true, we go here or we go here. So there's a couple paths to follow here. And when you look at the flowchart, that's exactly what we're doing. We're looking at the 40,000, too little, down here. If it's true, we then check the jobs. And if it's true, we get the loan here. Otherwise, we go no, and it comes down here. So there's only one positive path to take, and that's when both are true. If either one of these is false, we end up failing, and we end up with an end on this thing. So that's how this thing works. Will the program run? Let's give it a shot. We'll put in 30,000 for our money. And we'll put in 3 years on the job and say check qualifications. Not qualified, salary too low. It'd be nice to have a clear in here. We put that clear in place. How about 45,000 and 3 years on the job? You qualify for the loan. Great, super. 45,000, but only 1 year on the job. Not qualified, years on the job too short. So this flowchart that we just saw allows us to build this program that will actually do this type of thing. And it becomes really straightforward. But if you look at the complications of the if statement itself, it can be a little troubling to put something like this together. And if you have a flowchart, then to see this thing out and to follow it through, you can actually do that. And as you're done, as you go through the process of flowcharting it, you can write this part of the code and kind of highlight it that you've got it done, and then go on to the next piece and kind of trace it as you're going along. So this really helps solve your problem. The more complex the decision, the more you need that flowchart to write the program. Now the interesting thing is that this isn't the only way to write this decision logic. We have quite a bit more decision alternatives to explore. In fact, this example you just saw can be done at least 3 different ways. And I'll show you all those different ways eventually. Those are all things we will learn as we learn more and more about the decision process. What you need to take out of this video is how the if-else statement is structured within nesting. And 2, how it is even more helpful to have your flowchart by your side. You've got to have that thing. See you next time. Thanks for watching. If you get a chance, please subscribe. We'll see you in the next video. Take care.